Hello, and welcome to a live Deprogrammed with Keri Smith. I am your host, Keri. I'm still reporting from the temporary location. If you're a regular viewer, you will notice I'm still upstairs in the unfinished area because we're working on the Deprogrammed studio. Yesterday, I stained the floors. Today, we're finishing the floors, and very excited to be down there. The goal now is before the end of the month, we will be reporting from the new Deprogrammed, the finished Deprogrammed studio. But in the meantime, you have me up here with all the weird lighting, and I apologize. I feel like I hate the lighting up here. We're gonna fix that downstairs. Anyway, good to see so many of you in the chat. Give it up for Pirate Tomsky, one of our mods. I think there's several mods here. Hey, Pirate. Today we get Magician Keri. You know, I love this hat. I found it in Switzerland at a thrift shop for really cheap, but it's real beaver fur. And I was going to bring this home no matter if I had to carry it on my lap on the plane. And I did. Because I had another hat. Anyway, I went through a lot of trouble to get this back here. And I love this hat. And weirdly, my husband's kind of like you, Pirate. I think it's my only hat that he's not that fond of. He's like, it makes me think you're going to pull a rabbit out of somewhere. And he's not a huge fan of it, but I think it'll grow on him if I wear it more. So I'm wearing it more. If it's your first time here, this is a live show. We do Mondays and Fridays. Sometimes I have guests. I'm honored because today I have a return guest. She is an artist. She's a badass. I've interviewed her before, and I highly recommend that interview where you can get her whole story about leaving woke and choosing art. The famous artist Birdie Rose is here with us today. And here's what's really special. She's brought her fellow with us. He has been described as a folk acoustic punk artist, Doozer McDooze, with a fabulous name. I'm so excited to have them on together. Please welcome this duo. Hello, guys.
Hello.
Thanks for joining us. I know it's late where you are.
No, it's only 7.
Too
It's
late,
right.
yeah.
Oh.
But it's always dark this time of year, so it always feels light.
Well, I'm so happy to have you. I got really excited making the artwork, the thumbnail for today's show, and I just think you're this cool like an artist couple with two different kinds of artists who are in a couple. I think it's my favorite thing. You're not. I was going to say John Lennon and Yoko Ono, but one of you has to be Yoko. And
yep. You know, the people who cancelled us used to call me Yoko, and they meant it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's funny.
No.
We were watching, my husband and I last night were watching this a film with I guess I had not heard about it until recently, but it's a new film about Leonard Bernstein, the composer and the conductor, and his wife, who was an actress. I didn't know anything about his wife. And it's sort of similar, although in his case, he was bisexual and had lots of other partners. So I'm not making that comparison, but the comparison of these two artists who came together and had this deep love and this life together. And I just love those kind of duos. So anyway, I feel like it's very special to have you both.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
I think it can get tricky for couples, can't it? Because Sylvia Plath went out. Her husband was a writer as well, and they were really competitive, apparently.
Right.
Like, not nice competitive.
Oh.
Art. So I think it can be tricky. It depends on personality types as well.
Are you guys ever competitive?
No.
Not with each other.
Not with each other, no.
No.
It's just trying to...
Because we're pretty much on the same team.
Yeah, it's always trying to make whatever the other one's doing making that better as much as we possibly can, really. Yeah. It's just constant. It's ever since we met each other, I think.
We've always done cool stuff, haven't we?
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're not in competition with each other.
I think that's the best. Do you think it would be the same if you were artists in the same field? Like if you were both musicians or both artists, do you think it would be harder to maintain that supportive nature, or would that competitiveness ever? Because I have heard of couples where that competitiveness got the better of them when they did the same thing, like two musicians together or what have you.
Yeah, if I was a musician.
Possibly.
And if I was a musician, I was getting loads of gigs and you weren't, would that be upsetting?
No, because you'd probably just let me play your gigs. and I would let you play my gigs, and
we'd be in a band together,
and we'll just play together. No, I don't think we would. No, I think we can be very competitive, but like with each other, it doesn't work like that at all with us.
Because this is the way I view it, because if you have a strong or healthy marriage or relationship, it's like there's you and there's your partner and then there's us, there's we, and that's this third entity. And I had a counselor who suggested this, thinking of your relationship as this third entity that has to be protected and supported at all costs, even if one of the people who make up that entity is threatened by something. It's like, yeah, but we got to put this first rather than
that makes a lot of sense.
The thing,
we do
that thing is
and
what
also
gets attacked.
I think that is a thing.
I think what happened was people can't attack us as individuals. We didn't break, so now they're trying to attack the couple. This entity that we are.
But we are.
They're trying to break that.
It's ever since we got together, I've never been with been around anyone who's been as supportive as Birdie has been with my art, and the same with what she does. It's just we just kind of encourage each other to do stupid stuff a lot of the time. But it's
hang on, are we each other's number one fans?
Probably,
fans.
That's the way it's supposed to be. I'm my husband's number one groupie.
That's amazing.
Let's back up a little. If anybody has not seen the interview I did with you, Birdie, or if they're not familiar with you, will you just tell people a little bit about yourself and what you do, what kind of art you do, and who you are?
Can we go back and tell the story of how we ended up like going off music? Can we do? Is that
I want to hear all of it. I would love to hear how you met. Yeah.
I don't know. But basically, when me and Birdie met each other, we were in a very odd place, both of us. I was kind of doing like temping jobs and not really having anywhere. I didn't have anywhere to live, and then you didn't either.
I didn't have anywhere to live.
And but at the point I was doing a lot of festivals, so like I spent a lot of my summer going around festivals and then trying to get random jobs. And then I said to Birdie, "Oh, do you want to like showing off?" Really, he's like, "Do you want to come to some festivals with me?" And we just went on some adventures. And one of the first things we did when we first met each other was we were talking about maybe working together on something, because we just were just really excited, and we come up with an idea of doing singing paintings. So so I've got one upstairs, but anyway, the idea is I found these. Do you know, like birthday cards? When you open up the birthday card and it plays a song. Right, we found these little modules, or somewhere I managed to get them off the internet, where you can have like, it was at that point it was that you can have up to 30 seconds on it. So you press it and it just plays whatever you MP3, like 30 seconds on it. So we just jokingly said, what would be really good if we did one for like tea and coffee. And I wrote a tea song, and she'd done a painting with a cup of tea, and
with actual tea bags. I used just paint. Yeah. And then I did a painting of coffee with actual coffee beans I used to paint. Yeah. But we were in a coffee shop because you were having a coffee and I was having a tea.
Yeah, so we thought we'd do so I wrote a song about coffee and a song about tea. And then
we attached it to the painting.
And basically, the festivals went round to summer, whenever a lot of time, like random tents or wherever it was at the festival. And halfway through the set, I just get at the painting and put the sound module thing up to the microphone and press the button, and showed everyone what we've been doing. And from that, a friend of ours got in touch and said, would you like to do some workshops for singing paintings at schools? And she set up she set up a festival. There was 2 festivals, and during the week it was all for kids to come and learn all the different skills. It was like parkour.
The different schools would come
different
down,
and they just do like different workshops all day. It was like there was art, like kind of like nature art and just balloon stuff, but loads of stuff. But ours one was we did singing paintings. So in 20 minutes, I would get the kids to write, perform and record like 4 lines sung over and over again. I could go on stage to do that, recorded that onto the sound module, and then they would be with Birdie for another 20 minutes doing painting to go with the thing. And the money, it was great. It was so much fun. It was 30 schools in 2 weeks. It was just insane. It's also the first time I've actually battened down the hatches, because the stage that we were recording it all on was an old library bus. And it had the cover was a massive tarp that went like right out the front. But when the winds kicked up, we realised we attached a sound to a van and it started taking off. So we had to like hammer it into the ground one morning, and the whole thing got cancelled. But anyway, from the money,
Your first cancellation.
Yeah. But from the money we got from that, we bought a camper van, insured and taxed it for the year, and we hit the road. And that was in 2013, and we were on tour till, well, the COVID thing all happened.
Yeah, we were on tour for 7 years.
7 years touring around.
Living in a van.
Yeah.
And you were living in a van doing van life, music festivals, art together. Yeah. See, this is what I mean. There needs to be a movie about your life. I think it's fascinating. I love it. My husband and I do the van life only temporarily, only when he has a festival and we have to go to Montana or something, then we'll go up there in the van, but it's not permanent. I have a lot of respect for people that can do it for a long time.
I think we didn't realise, because we thought that basically our thinking was, look, we've both got nowhere to live. We've just been given this money for these workshops that we've done. How are we going to invest it? We could put down a what's it called when you move into a flat?
Deposit. Yeah,
we could put down a deposit and then
pay a month or two's rent, that sort of thing.
Or we could buy this van and go out on the road and do a summer of festivals. And we thought we would only last maybe a month or two, and then we'd be dead in a ditch. But it lasted for 7 years.
7 years.
We did really well. Really well.
Several vans, but
yeah, we had 3 vans in total. We sort of changed. Well, was it 3? No, it's 2.
Yeah, 3 vans. Because the little one we started off with.
Which but that was your van.
But that was mine. Yeah, 2 together.
Yeah, we had 2 vans. So that one we got initially, and then 3 years in we got a new van. We had that for 4 years.
Yeah, we converted that all ourselves.
Yeah, that one we built our entire home inside of it, like our kitchen, our bed, everything.
It was perfect.
Living room.
Yeah.
Love it. I've seen some when I've been at one of these songwriter festivals with Anthony. I've seen some of the other bands that do van life more permanently. There was one at the festival in Montana. They had, it was all tricked out inside because they are in it all the time, and they really put a lot of effort into it. It's beautiful. They had shag carpet and gold painted walls, and just a little dishwasher. I'm like, what is this? This fancy. Okay, so you, Doozer, if it's not clear to people already who don't know, you're a musician.
Yes.
When did you get into music? Were you a child? When did you, and what is it that you love about music? Why is that your life?
Oh, that's a very good question. I when I was about 5, I think my mum and dad got me like piano lessons and stuff, because my mum and dad are both like, they're quite big music. I don't really play a whole lot, but they're big music fans. And so my dad kind of encouraged me to play piano, and I really struggled with it at home because I've got younger brothers and sisters, and the piano is in the living room, and basically every time I play, my brothers and sisters would just shout at me because they're trying to watch the telly or do whatever they're doing, and I'm making this god awful racket. But I just absolutely love music and trying to figure out how it all works. And when I was 15, my dad came home with like this really cheap acoustic guitar, which I promptly stole and ran upstairs and taught myself how to play guitar off of a songbook. And I just wanted to be in a band and see what it's like. Kind of the whole thing about music just fascinates me. It's because it can actually change molecules. I don't know if you've seen where you get like a drum and you put sand on it and play different notes, and it will always go to a certain shape depending on what note. And I don't know.
No.
I'm sorry to interrupt. It just popped into my head. It's so exciting. Yeah. Have you heard about the experiments that researchers are doing now, where they're using different sounds and frequencies of sound to cure diseases and ailments?
I can kind of believe
you can do it with migraines.
Yeah.
So they're trying to step it up a level.
But
anyway.
For me though, just as soon as I played my first gig, obviously I was awful, but it just blew my mind, and just ever since I've literally dedicated my whole life to trying to do that as much as possible. Really.
Is it for you? Is it like another language? Because that's how I view it as someone who's not a musician. And I played instruments in high school and college. I played the clarinet. play the piano very little. I played until my parents made me take lessons until I learned how to play the theme song from Dirty Dancing, and then I was able to quit. So I'm not a musician. I have played instruments. There is a difference. And
Right.
as someone who is a musician, I look at you guys and I'm like, to me, it seems like you speak a different language, like the way your brain works. It's a different language, like having language skill. Is it sort of like that?
Yeah, I think it definitely is, because like for me, sometimes it takes me a long time to quite get my words into the right order when I'm thinking about things, especially like really big things. So that's why I end up writing songs and put it in there so I can condense exactly what I mean into this thing. But also when it comes to doing gigs, like for me, it's a very a two-way thing with the audience. It's all about creating an atmosphere, and it's all about this weird communication that you can't really describe any other way other than with sounds. I know that's what language is, but yeah.
Are you good at languages?
Me, no. I
Oh.
try. I'm dyslexic as well, so like I struggle with like any written word at all. It's like I really do struggle with it. But
what about math?
Yeah. I'm all right with maths. Yeah, pretty good with math.
I think I'm just curious. Thanks for letting me ask these, pepper you with these questions. Because a lot of musicians, I'm always like trying to figure out how their brain works, and some of them are really great at math, and some of them are really adept at language, and it's sort of I think of it as similar to those things.
Yeah. Language. I'm fascinated by language and how words work and how words can be changed, but I can't write it down properly. that's pretty much it.
Whereas I'm words, but not very mathsy.
Yeah, I know you're rubbish at maths.
Yeah, I am.
Can I play a little bit? Can we do a little special treat here? This would be a good place maybe to put in a little bit of your music.
Okay.
Or you've got your guitar.
Or you could do something live.
If I could do, yeah.
I'll get out of the way if you want to.
What do you reckon?
Yeah, do it.
You want to do that? Okay.
Okay, I've just got to tune up and stuff.
I will say, if you guys want to go check out Doozer's music, you can find him here on YouTube at Doozer McDooze, also on Spotify. And I have this clip queued up. We can actually play a little bit of this later. This is from the Lee Folk Fest, and I really loved this performance. So we're going to get to hear something better.
Oh, okay. We're
going to hear something live.
Should I do that one, or should I do another one?
Or do one that you fancy doing. Do whatever you feel like.
That one's a very good intro into, I don't know, but yeah.
And you can move up a little.
Thank you guys. Pirate has links here for Doozer's site and YouTube. Thank you, Pirate.
What should I play? My brain's completely, but I know what I do. This one's this is quite an optimistic song.
Go for it.
Yeah, this song's about trying to do something with your life incredibly slowly. Long as I keep moving, with all my troubles on my back. Long as I keep moving along. I don't care if I make it whatever the hell that means. I don't care how long it takes, as long as I get paid. I'm living my 3 steps forward and 2 steps back. Long as I keep moving, keeping debt collectors off my back. Long as I keep moving along. unseen treasures, whatever the hell that means. Been keeping 9 till 5, and your Friday nights. Is this your dream? To only what you make it. It's only where you take it. To end up sounding like some corny, no frills pop star. I keep moving, I keep moving. Keep the taxi man off my back. Long as I keep moving, I keep moving along. Along, along. What you make it. It's only where you take it. To end up sounding like some corny, not real pop star. Dream to only what you make it. It's only where you take it. To end up sounding like some corny, no frills pop star. One step forward and no steps back. Long as I keep moving, I keep moving. Take those troubles off my back. Long as I keep moving, I keep moving along. Thank you.
I love it. I love it. And I love the way you were described. I think in the press described you as folk acoustic punk, which is great. Sometimes it's hard to describe different sounds. Like I get that with my husband. Like, what is your husband's music? I'm like, I'm going to rely on somebody else's description.
Yeah,
huh?
That's the best way, I think. Yeah, just let someone else do it. Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't know how to describe it.
People are enjoying it. I love that. I liked having a musical interlude. Thank you for doing that for us.
Right, okay.
So Birdie, so you're a musician. You're an artist, Birdie, and you guys met. How many years ago was that? I know you were on the road for 7 years.
Up till March 2020, basically was on the road till.
Yeah.
But what year did you meet?
2011.
2011
we met.
Yeah, we met.
And then we met again in 2012.
Yeah,
because we met separately.
I met Birdie at Strawberry Fair, which is a festival in Cambridge, and she met me at Lee Folk Festival about a month later.
Yeah, because at Strawberry Fair, I drank way too much rum and didn't remember meeting you.
No.
And so, Birdie, we've, as I mentioned, I've already had the chance to interview you. Again, it's a great interview. Robert Lowry, one of our mods, has put the link up here. If you guys haven't seen it, go watch it after this. It was amazing. I don't want to retread on all of that, but just tell people a little bit about you, your background, how you got involved in art.
Well, yeah, I'm an artist. I think, like, I know it's really cliche to say, but I think I've always been an artist. I think that's just been who I am. And drink that one.
No,
Right, Doozer was going to get a cup of tea. He's distracted me. Yeah, so I think how I got into art, I said about the time when I was going out a lot with my friends and I wasn't really sure what I was doing with my life, and I had some sort of breakthrough. I've talked to you about that on the other episode, and I started painting a lot and realised that no, this is what I want to do. I don't want to work in factories anymore. I don't want to be folding up cardboard boxes for the rest of my life and things like that, working in telesales. So I started painting, and my friends were working during the week and going to the pub, and I was kind of in between. I was doing bits and bobs, and instead of going to the pub, I just started saying, do you know what, I'm staying in, I'm not coming out. And that was a big deal because I was like 20, and that was really big deal. Not coming out, I'm going to paint. And I just started painting, and it really helped me. It helped me a lot with organising my thoughts. It helps me to ground myself, even though painting is for me all about not really being grounded. Like what the things I paint are otherworldly, but it grounds me. So yeah, I got into painting that way. I mean, I was always arty. I always did all the art things when I was a kid, always drawing. I was the kid that everyone asked me to draw them a picture for them in school, but I never won the art awards. I never won them. And that probably kept my ego in check. So
that's good.
Yeah, probably good. You're back at your days. Yeah. So yeah, that's me, artist. And I don't really know how else to describe my story really, because I don't have like a linear track line like Dooze has. You learned piano and then you got a guitar and you learned bass and you did all these different things. I didn't do it like that. I just did things.
But what I like about your path is when you talk about it at 20, you stopped going out. And that seems like a small thing. It's not a small thing. It's a big thing because it's showing your dedication to I have to put in the time if I value this thing.
It was that. And it was also, I was fearful as well of the path that I could potentially go down with what my life could become, because I was scared of, I was born with rubella syndrome. You know about that, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I've always been scared that I wouldn't be here for long, and I was convinced that I wouldn't because I wasn't supposed to be. So I was predicted to be blind, deaf, mute, paralysed from the neck down, wouldn't live past the age of 5. I've surpassed that, so I am deaf, and I did have a heart problem, but I have lived past the age of 5. So I've been very sort of worried about being on stolen time. And I think when I was 20 and I was going out drinking a lot and enjoying my time, I was a bit like, well, is this all? Is this all I've got? Is this the only thing I'm going to do? And if I want to do something else and I want to find something meaningful, I've got to put time into it and I've got to be there. I've got to show up for it.
You know what you made me think of? Have you ever heard the expression perverse positives?
No.
Okay, so I heard this first when I had a family member diagnosed with cancer, and the doctor was talking about some of the perverse positives we might expect, because there's all the negatives, but some of the things that it's perverse because it comes from something awful. And when you talk about knowing that you're on borrowed time, I wonder if that's a perverse positive of your situation, because we're all on borrowed time.
Yeah, we are. I've never.
And you're aware of it.
I've never thought of it as borrowed time. I always thought of it as stolen time because I wasn't supposed to be here, because I did die twice.
Yeah.
And I came back.
Wow.
So I always thought I always felt a little bit guilty sometimes, because like I've stolen the time to be here. I'm still here, like I'm running away from something, like like I've done something naughty just by still being here.
No, you've borrowed it though. It's we just read for one of my other videos. We read the Screw Tape Letters again by C.S. Lewis, and one of the things he says in there, it's a really funny book. I've mentioned this before. If you haven't read it, you should read it. John Cleese narrates it. One of the versions, really funny. But in part of it, the the demon who's sort of narrating it, who's writing these things, he's talking about how humans don't realize they're all on borrowed time, and we think of our time as ours until the day when it's cruelly snatched away from us. Even our bodies are not ours, right? At the end, and it's snatched away from us. And I was like, wow, imagine if that were this ever-present knowledge, because I forget, and I'm trying to be more aware of how much time I have, which is limited, and who knows how much. And you know, thankfully I have a healthy body right now. Be aware of that, and you were forced to be aware of that from the
Yeah,
very beginning.
I went the other way, and I, instead of forgetting about it, I became like obsessed.
Oh, maybe that's a
with
little
my mortality, and that wasn't the greatest thing.
a little
to do.
too far.
As I'm getting older, I'm learning to find a balance.
Yeah. So let me share some of your art. Now, I know some people in the chat said, I saw someone said, maybe it was Davina, said, I just visited Birdie's art page. It's amazing. Let me share this. It's the famous artist, birdierose.com. I drink a lot of tea, okay?
That's your bio, isn't it? Yeah.
And then I love that you have here, trigger warning. There will be no trigger warnings. Which is just great. Can you tell me a little bit about, and again, not to retread too much on our previous conversation, but at what point did you start making art with a kind of a message, or that with a commentary on the world?
Definitely when we got the first time I got cancelled.
That was why we were. Was it why you were cancelled?
No, I wasn't. No, because the first time I got cancelled, it was nothing to do with my art.
Oh,
and then
yeah,
the second
just,
time, my art was just being used as an excuse to be
yeah.
cancelled. So I started this in 2020. Was it 2020? Wasn't it? It was when we was in the lockdown situation
and stuff. Yeah.
Anyway, so I started this during
then.
That's Magdalene.
That's the first one. Because you got an iPad.
Yeah, I got an iPad.
We figured out how to get an iPad because you've been wanting one for ages.
I paid it off this year as well, so it's been worth it. But I got an iPad, and I really, really wanted to learn digital art, and that was my first drawing on the iPad.
I love it.
And I've just been really enjoying it. I mean, it's a different thing to painting. I see it as almost like I'm using two different brains. So the digital art, I do a lot of, messages to do with what's going on at the moment. And that's a good way of memeing on the internet rather than writing tweets and things. And I really enjoy it because a lot of the digital art is stuff that I've been inspired by seeing something online that makes me laugh or makes me think or, brings up an emotion, and I want to meme it as a piece of art. Mm-hmm. So I think that, and it's great. It's great fun doing the digital stuff. But yeah, I started that in 2020, so that's 4 years ago now.
Yeah, come up to 4 years.
That's gone quick.
Cool, that's gone quick.
So one of your most controversial, and it shouldn't be controversial, but controversial in this crazy upside down world that we're in, opinions, is it's not really an opinion. It's that you acknowledge biological reality.
Yes, I know what a woman is, and I know what a man is.
Right? Can you tell me just a little bit about how this is, or as much as you want, about how this has impacted you? Because you're a person who, when I was trying to think of a title for today's episode, it's like, become uncancellable or cancel this or something, because you've been through numerous attempted cancellations now.
Yeah, they can't kill me off. It ain't happening.
Do you want to give me just a little background on what was the first attempt? When did people in the artist community where you guys are based, the music community, the art community, when did they first start coming after you?
So 2019 was the first public attempt. I personally think people have been bad mouthing us for years, haven't they?
Well, we found out that's true. We know that. But yeah.
So the first public attempt was 2019. We had a friend who identified as trans, and then we were no longer friends with this person. And about 6 months after the last time we'd seen them, we were at the same festival as this person. And then she turned around and told everyone that I beat them up. So, and I was the last one to find out. We didn't find out till after the festival.
I only found
But
out randomly.
everybody had heard I'd beat this person up, and that was my first cancellation. So many people dropped us like a hot potato.
And you didn't know that this lie was being spread about you?
Yeah.
No,
yeah,
we found out
didn't
like
know.
third or fourth hand sort of thing.
Yeah, like you found out from someone else, and I found out from you.
Yeah.
And that was because somebody else had told that person. It had gone round like wildfire.
Well,
and to this day, people still believe it because it had never been publicly retracted, even though some people protecting the person, there are people around that person and the person themselves admit that this isn't true. But it's never been publicly redacted. So because of that, there are still people to this day that will use the fact that I apparently beat up a trans person at a festival against us.
So that's when Birdie crossed the line because
that's what people
the violence.
Say. Yeah, people say that I crossed the line with violence. And I was like...
Because I thought they were talking about the fact you took up kickboxing and you was just doing that to get fit.
Oh, yes, that was a weird thing.
Yeah,
because I was doing kickboxing around about the same time, and the fact that I was doing kickboxing was used as sort of like proof that I beat people up. And I had a lot of people on the festival scene and like musicians and that, especially the men, they were really, really annoyed with me for doing kickboxing, and they were saying things like, you should be ashamed of yourself, you're doing a blood sport, this is out of order, you should know better, this is really violent. And I was like, it's just martial arts. And it goes to show these people don't know much about me, because I've done martial arts since I was a kid. I used to do judo. I took it very seriously and I used to compete. So it's very weird for me to be told by full-grown men that I'm a bad person for doing kickboxing.
What are these people? I assume, because a lot of times these people are like zombies. They all have the same opinions on everything, and you can just kind of extrapolate, oh, they're going to think this about this. A lot of times that's what being in a cult is like. You know ahead of time what all their positions are. It's not ever a surprise. And so I'm assuming a lot of these people are anti-gun. So if they're anti-gun, how do they propose a woman, especially a woman, protect yourself, like self-defense? You're not allowed to protect yourself with any kind of tool, but also you're not allowed to learn how to physically use your body for self-defense.
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
Really sorry, just a random thing with guns and stuff like that is like people don't have things like that over here. Like it's not like when we went to America and we met people who got guns on them. It's like, what? But realizing it's quite a normal thing because of
culture, history.
Because that changed. You weren't so judgmental after you went to America and you talked to people about why they have guns.
Well, it made sense when they told me the reason why. You're like, oh, right, that makes sense. Yeah, it's just But it was. Sorry, it's just a random thought because like for us, like, we don't our police don't have guns. They just hit people.
I know. I was at the Edinburgh French Fest years ago, back when I used to work with and represent comedians. I had a couple of comics who played there, and it was wonderful to get to go. And it was my first time to Scotland, but I was shocked they didn't have guns. And I saw some of the most bloody street fights, things I have never seen in the States. And I wondered, I saw this brawl outside of a bar with like two couples involved, and they were using like broken beer bottles and an umbrella, and one lady pulled the other lady's top off, and it was like all four of them brawling. And I'm like, that never happens here. I think it's because they don't fear getting shot.
People are a lot less scared of a broken beer bottle.
I don't know. Much more frightening. That's really frightening. Yeah.
Thank you for the super chat, Pirate Tomsky, one of our mods, doing a chat. Thank you, sir, for £5. He's one of you people, by the way. He says, "Have you ever heard the term cancel pigs going around the comic space at the moment to call out the wokies, and they absolutely hate it when you call them this, cancel pigs."
You know, like
I was in that cancel police, right? I see.
Yeah. Right, I get it. I've never heard it, but
I've never heard that before.
I'm going to start calling them that.
It took me a while to get my head around what you mean, but yes.
Yeah. So the first cancellation was an attack on me. The second cancellation was an attack on me. That was another person who we were no longer friends with in 2020. Quite a few people that we weren't friends with anymore, because what had happened was We were in with a little group on the music scene. We'd introduced them all to each other, so they were people we knew, and we got them together. And a lot of these friendships, or if we want to call them friendships, some of them were friendships, some of them weren't, became very one-sided and very demanding, and I would say not very healthy, as in people were treating us badly, or we felt treated badly at least.
Yeah, they wanted us a lot out of us, and we didn't have anything
We felt
to
quite
give
used.
because I don't know, just trying to survive on the road. We've got no backing whatsoever. It's literally everything's we got was because we got it, and
but people came along and expected us
to give them everything, and to be honest, we did help out a whole bunch of people.
We were mega people pleasers.
Yeah, we wanted to help people out,
and I think we felt guilty for can I say this? Can I speak for both of us when I say no? I'm just hear it first. Hear it before you police it, cancel pig.
Right.
Okay, I think we felt we're both people pleasers, and we both enabled each other in feeling guilty for being able to manifest so much cool stuff to happen, and that we didn't honour ourselves in terms of appreciating that we make things happen because we are able to do things that are cool, and we put our heads together and we create things, and we go out there and we show the world what we're doing, and we make things happen. And we didn't honour that, we didn't appreciate that about ourselves, and we felt guilty for having things, because there's a certain section of the left when it comes to art and creative scenes that make you feel bad. And it is a thing that people make you feel bad, they will treat you differently, or even call you a sellout if you have even the smell of success around you.
Syndrome, isn't it?
Yeah, tall poppy syndrome.
Yeah, there's a lot of that. Yeah, basically, if you start doing any sort of
for starting to do
but we wanted
well.
to bring people with us as well, because that was kind of just the way we've always been, really.
We wanted to bring people with us. We wanted other people to do cool stuff. We wanted other people to go on adventures like we've done. And what we didn't realise is that the people around us didn't want to have their own adventure. They wanted our adventure, and they wanted us to give it to them.
Oh, resentment. It's absolute resentment, and entitlement is a character flaw that plagues humanity. And I mean, gosh, to go back to the Screw Tape Letters book that I was mentioning, it's all throughout the Bible. It's envy, cautioning against this. Even if you're not a religious person or don't believe in God, there are things in the Bible that talk about human nature that are basically describing what humans are like. And these are some bad things that humans are like, or bad qualities that humans could have. And these are some good virtues that humans could have. And it's sort of one of the biggest ones that's in there over and over and over is coveting. Don't covet. Don't envy. Why? Because it leads to darkness, just absolute darkness. And so that's what I hear you describing is I try to get so far away from those people.
It's
now
as if you're an artist, there's a certain amount of I feel like I'm a loner on the art scene. Like I'm very much on my own, because I don't really want to go back anywhere near towards artists again, because I'm scared, or a little bit of me is scared, that we're just going to keep encountering the same people. Because it seems to me, especially because art is dominated by people on the left, in my opinion. Like if you're an artist, you tend to lean left culturally and politically, and it seems like there's a lot of cultivating dark personality types at the moment are thriving in that scene. And people, it's not necessarily that there's more people with those traits, it's that people are leaning into it more because that's being encouraged, and so they're leaning into the dark side of themselves, and they're allowing themselves to be angry and jealous and spiteful and all of these things, instead of falling into the art. Where's your art? Where's the love for your art? Why aren't you falling into that? Why are you focusing on us and destroying us? That's not an artist, in my opinion.
Yes, I completely agree. And it's there for each of those, the ones that get called, the 7 deadly sins or what have you. there's an opposite, there's an antidote. There's the virtue that goes with that, and all of those things. Like, I'm look, Catholics, I'm not going to remember all of them off the top of my head, but charity, kindness, humility, all of those things. The more you try and grow those things, and joy for art, like, then you root out that darkness and keep it out of your own heart. And art, to me, I look at things like what you guys do, art and music, and it's like, it's supposed to come from a place of joy, and it's supposed to provoke joy in me, the listener, or the person who's consuming it, joy or different emotions. But I guess part of the reason why what you're talking about, the dark parts of the spirit, are thriving in art at the moment is probably because of culturally what I call woke or social justice having been accepted as like the dominant religion. Even if it's not called a religion, it rewards entitlement. It rewards where people are like, I am owed XYZ because I am this gender or this race or and therefore I deserve this, and I deserve what you have. And that, and currently, hopefully not always, but currently, is being rewarded in our society, where it's like, yeah, you deserve that. You should make yourself a cry bully, a cry victim on the national stage about how you're owed this. I don't know. I'm kind of rambling. I hope that makes sense. But
yeah, but people are getting rewarded.
It's not just that; it's being enabled. It's a lot of people that don't want to face it and can't. Like they're like, they feel like they're too busy, or it's bigger than them. It's too overwhelming to get involved in trying to dissuade from people. Trying to dissuade people from leaning into those sides of their personality is too much of an ask. When really, you don't have to tell people what to do, but you can encourage people to go a different way by leading by example.
Yes. Just wanted to show you from the chat, Birdie. Karen says, I'm a big fan of Birdie. I bought my son a picture for Christmas.
Oh, thank you.
Picture?
You're like,
yeah. Which one? Which one? Okay, so let's skip ahead a bit. You guys have been, you individually have been attacked, Birdie. Now you guys as a couple are being attacked. And when one of, not even the most recent, but one of the most recent attempted cancellations that I saw play out online, I'm going to share this. Now, we're not going to share this person's name because I personally think they want their name to be shared. In fact, you didn't share their name at first. You weren't trying to send anyone after this person. He
asked for his name to be shared.
What?
He asked for his name to be shared.
I saw that. So everyone's clear. What I'm about to show you, Birdie graciously did not include this person's name, which I always respect that, because it's not about any one person. It's just using this to illustrate what's happening to you. Yes. And this person demanded their name be used and also did a bunch of posts about it, outing himself. He's a musician, and he outed himself. And then he went on this cry bully victim tirade. This is my opinion, watching it unfold, publicizing it, trying to draw more attention to himself. I am the one being called out here, put my name on it. And then cry victim like they do. How dare you try and out me and cancel me, and I'm going to sue, and I'm going to do this and that. And same old script every time. Yeah. Let's just talk about some of this. So you posted this. You said, another male musician essentially tells my fella to distance himself from me in a very long, unsolicited lecture. He thinks he's morally and intellectually superior to us. It's absolutely incredible to read. This is a glimpse into the mindset of the UK music and art world right now. And then you have these screenshots where you've taken his name out. Can I just read some of this and we can pause and talk about it? This is just, I think it's instructive for the same reason you do. It's illustrative of a type and of the left and of their tactics. So it doesn't matter who he is.
Interesting you say that as well, because this isn't the first time and it won't be the last time this happens. Right. So these messages, they're almost identical in some way. So it's a good thing that you've said that. It's a type.
Yes, it's a type. It's not about any one person.
Yeah.
As much as he wants it to be. Okay. He says, now these are messages that he sent to you, Doozer, and it says, sorry to hear your gig has been canceled, but I need to ask the question. Is pinning yourself to this very slim issue working out from a business perspective? You don't have to fight in this. You've got your life. Others have got theirs. We stand in front of an audience and have a responsibility to each and every one of them without caveat to protect them from any form of persecution. If this culture war is lucrative and the only reason you're invested is because it's making you money, then you're no better than the systems you sing about. Now, let me just pause here for a second. Couple things here. There's a few things already. One is he's talking about protecting an audience from persecution while engaging in persecuting. Like, this is a person who persecutes and has the gall to talk about persecution.
Yeah.
That's my opinion. Secondly, there's this weird thing about like he's sort of appealing to money and the business perspective. He's appealing to that, and he does it later in these messages too. But he's basically saying, you need to think about your career. You need to think about the business and money. And then not 2 paragraphs later, he's going, are you doing this because you're thinking about your career and money?
Yeah,
like,
yeah, no,
that makes you bad.
This has been a theme all throughout. One of the things a lot of people have got an issue with is they've got it into their heads that we're making millions and millions of pounds from being biggers, and that's the only reason we're doing it. When really we're just normal people.
We're just about paying the rent every month.
Our bills, yeah, and that's it. You know, but they've got it into their heads because quite a few of the people involved in this, one in particular, does go around telling people that I'm making hundreds of thousands of pounds or tens of thousands of pounds a month, and he follows it with, and that's why she needs to be stopped. So there's a lot of focus on money, but that comes back to the envy thing again.
Yes.
Because it doesn't matter the truth, right? Doozer already told this guy, we're not making money. But that doesn't matter. The narrative matters more than the truth, always. So it doesn't matter if we're making loads of money or not. The idea is that we shouldn't be allowed to participate in society, and we shouldn't be allowed to succeed in our careers because we have the wrong thoughts.
Yes. And I just want to highlight this from John. He says the double-minded often reveal themselves. They do.
They do.
And
but yeah, there's a lot of appealing to him to think about his career, and you know, the only way to save his career is to distance himself from me.
And it's double-minded. It both can't be true.
Oh yeah, that is true.
Oh no, just because like the way we do from ever since COVID and all this stuff that's happened, like I'm not gigging nowhere near as much as I used to. I used to do like, was it?
You did
one year we did about, I think it was about 100 gigs and about 40 festivals in 1 year, and
now
like last year I did like 5 gigs, I think. So,
yeah, but there's been, you know, the lockdowns didn't help because the government outlawed your profession.
Yeah, become illegal. Yeah.
But, and now we've got this situation of being cancelled during that, so it's difficult for you to have found your feet and find your place again, because there's a lot of this shit going on, like people on the music scene doing this, making you feel unwelcome.
Yeah.
And he's trying to have it both ways. He's absolutely double-minded because he's like, on the one hand, and we're about to see further on in these weird messages he sent you, he's saying, your gigs have been canceled and that sucks, and your career's being affected and it's not lucrative and that sucks, and it'll stop if you do what we want. And you need to think about your career and money. But then at the same time, he's going, you must be making lots of money and your career's going great and everything because you're saying all but how are both true?
So says you're losing gigs because of your association with Birdie, and that sucks. But then he'll also say publicly, they're not being cancelled. There's no such thing as cancel culture.
So what is it? It's so weird. It's like, how do you live with a brain like that, first of all, like I guess it's you've got company all the
You
time.
can see it's driving them mad because of the way they talking like a madman.
Okay, we're going to continue. So then he says, if you're genuinely concerned about where other people piss and poop, then please hang out in the toilets at my gig at Peggy's in December with a taser and become a crap cop. The only rule to folk music is that we punch up, punch at the power, punch the government, and punch the church. I have something to say about this. They don't. Go ahead.
Oh no!
Oh no! I thought you would have something to say.
Oh, I definitely do, because I was in the woke world. I was in the social justice world for 20 years. And this is one of their catchphrases, and I worked in comedy while I was in that world. And they would say, comedians, for example, they said, you always have to punch up. You can't punch down. You always punch up. And I don't necessarily disagree with them. I think punching up is better than punching down always. It's just, they don't know what's up and what's down. They have no sense of direction.
Depends on which. Everything's up to me because I'm quite short.
Oh.
But bump. They have no sense of direction. Punching up is punching at the thing you're not allowed to do. It's the taboo. It's who has power. Exactly. He says, punch at the powerful. Guess who the powerful are? The powerful culturally are the ones who can cancel your gigs and who can send these mobs to try and coerce you to speak the only approved opinion. That's who's powerful.
Yep. And I bet he felt pretty powerful messaging you, telling you to distance yourself from me. I mean, that's punching down, right? It's got to be. If you're in a position where you can tell someone to leave their partner, then you're above them, or you think you are.
Yes.
You think you're above them.
And it's funny because he's also, he says, punch at the government. Dude, I maybe you're not aware of this. You are a foot soldier for the government. You're on the government side. What are you talking about? Like,
Well,
what?
Though, a lot of these people think that we're on the government side.
What?
That's how. There's a lot of. I don't know how, but we seem to be. I don't know if it's the same in America, but we seem to be living in a culture where we're looking at the same thing and we're seeing two completely different things.
That happens a lot.
There's a lot of people on the left that think that me and you are far right, and not just that, but everything is far right now. Even the left is far right, and that we're in like a fascist government. We live in a fascist country, which I always argue you wouldn't be able to say that, or you wouldn't want to say that if you really did live in a fascist country under a fascist government. But also, they seem to see things completely the opposite to how I'm seeing things, or how people like us see things. And I'm not sure how this can be resolved, really, because they see us as being government supported and we're
attacking people.
Down
like the reason you're doing all of this is the reason you talk about what you do is because you want to attack.
I'm addicted to attacking
people who are different
people.
and I think that because it's not about that at all.
Yeah, but it can't possibly be about women's safety or the right of children to not be sterilised. It can't possibly be about free speech. It's got to be about something evil, because you can't think outside of that, because it's unthinkable.
It's so weird because what they're at war with is actually reality. I mean, government currently, especially in the UK, enforces hate speech laws, enforces, in some cases, compelled speech. The government is, in some countries, I know the UK has finally taken measures to curtail medical, surgical, and medical so-called transition for children, and say, hey, wait until you're an adult to make these permanent decisions about your body. But there's still, our government hasn't done that yet. There's still, the government is squarely on the side of these leftist authoritarians currently, in my opinion. I mean,
and people like this guy support government measures to implement hate speech and compelled speech, but will claim that we're supporting the government. We're supported by the government. weirdest statement.
It's so weird. It's a war with reality. Okay, I'm going to continue. I'm sorry, I have a lot to say about this. I'll try and limit what I'm saying and let you guys talk.
Keep getting distracted talking about it all.
Okay, here we go. The reality of the situation is no matter how silent you are, your work is intrinsically linked to Birdie's outrage machine, which by proxy is going to have an effect on your career. I don't believe the canceling of your gig was right, but I do believe it's naive to think that being so closely associated with the culture war against members of our audiences won't lead to more of this. It's going to take proactive work rather than crossing fingers and hoping the people who feel attacked by sentiments of anti-queer rhetoric are going to feel less attacked next week. Seriously, my oar in this river is more to do with making sure your voice isn't lost in the music scene. But I can't help other than talk to you about it. The part in the post where the unnamed author of the unnamed book is equated to a pedophile, that's the bit that smells heavily of fascist gaslighting. By the way, he's talking about a book here where
Yeah, I've named the author. I read
yeah.
from the book
Yeah,
on my YouTube channel.
Gay communism.
Yeah,
Is that what
I
it's
think it was
called?
called Gay Communism. Yeah,
Something like that. Yeah, yeah.
I've named it. I've talked about it on YouTube, so it's not unnamed.
I've also read from that book, and it's, you know why it's equated with pedophilia? Because it's advocating for pedophilia explicitly.
Yeah,
It's explicitly
out,
saying.
Yes.
I've read out. I've read out bits of it that are advocating for a lot of very strange things.
Well,
but it's all about
right to have sex with anything, wasn't it?
Yeah, but that's we were talking about this because you wanted to know what queer theory is, and I was like,
I've done my head in that.
I was like, you don't want to go there. It's basically that we need to break down all the boundaries of everything in society. There should be no boundaries on anything whatsoever.
Yeah, it's pretty disgusting, that particular passage. It's so weird that this person to me would defend that book. It's almost like
he doesn't know what the book is. So I don't know, but I think it's just that. I mean, the whole thing is written like he knows better than everything else.
But he doesn't even know what book we're talking about.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Like, learn what you're talking about first, dude, because you might do what you just did and step in it by making a defense of a book that's arguing for having sex with children. Like, that's what that book does.
Well,
yeah.
Yeah. I think that's
and with the dead, yes.
Frowned upon in general society. But yeah.
Yeah. Okay. We'll continue. The same way the Fash equate the Jews to greed and Muslims to terror, it doesn't take much moral diligence to know that equating our queer friends to pedophilia is wrong. Nobody's equating queer people to pedophilia. You are. That book is pedophilia.
Oh, yeah.
I think what it is I do share stories of men who are convicted of pedophilia.
Yes.
Who then, when they go to prison, claim to be women and go to the women's prisons. And what happens is, if I share one of those stories, the trans activists claim that I'm calling all of the men who claim to be women paedophiles.
Not that.
Again,
go ahead.
Not all of them.
There's quite a lot of them, but that's a separate issue. Like, quite a lot of men that are paedophiles that go to prison claim to be women when they go.
And it does. It's absurd to say that somehow implies that you think or are asserting that all people with gender dysphoria who try and present as the opposite sex are pedophiles. That's ridiculous. I hate when people do this, and they try to put words in your mouth that you haven't said and opinions in your head that you don't hold, and then they have this battle with this straw man they've created instead of engaging with what you've actually said.
A lot of this has been this is a conversation because this has happened a lot with us, is when there's certain people we've known have been around people, suddenly like the next week either we've been unfriended or get a message along those lines, and you're like, you're not asking any of the questions properly. I don't know.
No, this comes off the back of Grant hanging out with the main instigator of my cancellation. And whenever people hang out with him, they suddenly start repeating all of this stuff about me and about our relationship. And I've seen it all a million times, you know, what I apparently think, what I'm apparently doing, what our relationship apparently is.
Yeah.
It's all coming from the same source. And whenever people spend time with this person or in this group, this is what they repeat, and they end up having a real issue with me, but not just me, but with our relationship.
Yeah.
And they feel like it's their moral duty to try and get through to you, that you need to not be with me, you know.
Fine.
Oh, well, that's
By the way, I tapped him lightly. That wasn't the
So you saw it here, right?
No.
Live
abuse.
live on YouTube.
No.
You also called him a cancel pig. Oh man. Well, this is the creepiest part of these messages, in my opinion, because let me just read the last part. It says, "I'm not sure how you're going to get out of this, but if you want to discuss it, I'm happy to listen. These messages are sent with love for someone I am noticing struggling to get back on the road, which is where you belong." And then there's, after this, of course, as I mentioned, there's just a ton more posts from this guy who outed himself, put my name on it, you know, and trying to make himself some victim, while at the same time saying, "Stop talking about me. I'm going to sue you." And it's like, you asked for your name to be added to it. But here's one of the weirdest parts. In one of his follow-up messages, and for anybody who didn't follow this, he posted this weird thing. He was like all upset that you shared these private coercive messages publicly without his name, upset that you shared it. And so he posted about it. And he said something in his response, like, he tried to imply, he outright said that it was weird that Birdie had even seen these messages.
Yes.
That's weird.
So what happens is, and this happened with the main guy who's involved in cancelling, but what happens is somebody will badmouth me to you. You show it to me because you're shocked, and then I say something about it, and then that person will claim that I have access to your social media without permission, and that I'm controlling you, I'm controlling your phone. I'm not.
I haven't even got a phone.
I'm controlling you, I'm controlling your phone, I'm reading all your messages behind your back.
Everything goes through Birdie, everything.
And
is she puppeting you right now?
Yeah, gun right here.
But that's the narrative that's been spread, and it does come from one person. We pretty much know who it is, or a few people that have been doing this for years and years and years, since before we even knew this was going on. That's why I say about public cancellation, because I think this has been a build-up for a long time, and now it's all coming out publicly what people have been saying about us. That is, we're now seeing it, and that's why I shared it, because I'm like, look, this isn't the first time it's been publicly said, but this is the first time I'm sharing it. And it is disgusting the way people talk about us and our relationship. And some of these people, like the guy who sent that message you just read, only met me once, barely knows us, and hasn't seen us in over 5 years. Who are you to come to us about our relationship as if you know anything? Or even come to me about what being a woman is, as if you know anything.
It is so, when I saw this, I shared it with my first gut instinct, and it was a strong one, was this guy who wrote these messages. Because here, let me just, I'm not going to show this one because it has his name on it, but he did a long post after this. And one of the things he said in it was, "I can only speculate why she has access to her boyfriend's DMs." And my first gut instinct is like, this guy's never been in a healthy relationship in his life.
Yeah.
Because if you think it's normal to hide, to keep a secret, messages where someone is attacking your spouse to you, to keep that a secret from your spouse, you've never been in a healthy relationship. Like, what? That's not normal.
This has been the theme for the whole time, though. If I speak about what's being said about me to him, I'm attacked for it. And the attack is along the lines of claiming that I have no right to this information. And that was told to us by the person we're not friends with anymore, who is the main instigator, I believe is the main instigator. We used to be friends with him, and he messaged you out of the blue one day just texted. We haven't seen him for a while. He's another musician, and he said to you that he doesn't want anything to do with me anymore, and we're both friends with him. Don't want anything to do with Birdie anymore. I hate her guts, but I really love you, man. I miss you. Let's go for a coffee. Don't invite Birdie and don't tell Birdie about it. Now, you was really shocked, so you showed me the message.
Yeah. And also, not only that, but he totally knows our situation was the fact that
we were living in a van.
Transport and home was the same thing. So if I was going to go somewhere, Birdie has to come with me.
Yeah, because we live in a van.
Because, we lived in a van. So.
Down by the river.
How are you going to go and meet for him with coffee without me?
I'm just gonna nip out. Where are you going? I don't know.
So, but what happened was I texted him because I thought we were still friends at that point. So I texted him and I said, "Hey, what's that about?" And he let loose, like he went off on one about how I have no right to be looking through Doozer's phone without his permission. I have no right to be reading his messages. And that conversation is confidential. It's between him and Doozer.
No, it's not, dude.
This is what he said to me. It's nothing to do with you. It's between me and Doozer.
It's about you.
Right to know what we're saying. And that's been the attitude. And that was years and years ago. That's one of the reasons we stopped being friends with this guy. And ever since then, all these people around him are repeating and adopting that attitude that Birdie has no right to this. When we message Doozer about her, she has no right to know about it. So whenever I talk about it, the main attack is that they're astonished that I would have the nerve to talk about this because I shouldn't know what's being said about me to my partner.
I'm going to just let me pause this. I'm going to make a public service announcement.
Oh, okay.
For anyone who may have found this video, who's watching, who's never been in a healthy relationship. Okay. Just let me make this, just so you know. And it took me a long time. I'm not saying this from a place of loftiness. It took me a long time to understand this. I used to be, when I was in the woke world and I didn't have a sense of what was healthy and what wasn't. I mean, I didn't have boundaries or know what boundaries were or know about like priorities in the relationship and all of that. Here's a healthy relationship as I understand it now. As I mentioned, there's us, there's we, and there's each of us who make up the we. This is your primary relationship. This is the person you've committed to spend your life with. In the Christian tradition, we believe you become one flesh with spiritually. But this is even if you're not Christian, you're not religious, but this is the person who's supposed to be the closest person in your life to you. You have their 6. They have your 6. If you're in the UK, you don't know this expression because you don't know guns. It means I'm watching your 6 o'clock. Like I'm watching behind you.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
Okay. So I've got your back. You've got mine. The closest person. Any person, outside person, who tries to attack us in any way, whether it's by coming to me and talking shit about my husband, or coming to me and trying to flirt with me, or in any way tries to establish some intimacy with me that threatens my primary intimacy, which is the intimacy with my husband, us, you better believe my actual intimate partner, my spouse, is going to know about it.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Especially if they're attacking him, especially if they are a threat. You're either a friend to our marriage or you're not. If you're not a friend to our marriage, you're not a friend to either of us.
Yeah.
Because you're a threat. Sorry. And there's a lot of people with nefarious intent and all different kinds of nefarious intent. And it's like, I finally realized it's like, no, this is either primary or it's not. And so for someone to say that, I was like, and he said it multiple times in his messages, and some of his weird little commenters were saying it too, like, wow, I can't believe she saw those messages or knew about those private messages about her that you sent him. Of course she did. And I hope that you learn. Go ahead.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, just my final thing is I hope that these people learn what a I hope one day they get to experience a healthy relationship.
Yeah, of course.
I don't know
Everyone
if
should
they
have
will
that.
though,
Yeah.
because in their minds, the only reason I would know about those messages is because I'm abusive. That's the only reason.
No.
Only reason I would know about it.
Joking,
Not
man.
because we're talking to each other about these
Well,
messages.
we've invested our entire life, and you got like even just like simple things like since we got disconnected from what we were doing completely, like with the pandemic and all this stuff. The only reason we've both got through it is because we've got each other, and you've got each other's back. We've got our 6 or whatever it is. Yeah, you've just because we have, and we've always been like that, because we wouldn't have done any of the things we've done if it weren't for the fact that we're looking out for each other. Bad.
Yes, I just thank you for letting me get that off my chest. That when I saw those, that was more than any of the woke stuff or the political positions or censorship or cancel mobs. That just really bothered me.
Yeah.
It was like,
because I saw a bit where he wrote that somebody else said something along the lines of, I can't believe she saw your message. And he said something like, well, Doozer's dead to me now, as if Doozer's betrayed him.
Betrayed him?
It's like, Doozer's dead to me now, and that's why I have no choice but to sue him, or something like that. I read it and I was like, wow, who do they think his loyalty is to? Because we've been for over a decade, and some of these people we've only met like twice,
or in passing at gigs, because that's a weird thing with the musician, like the like, I don't know, community is not quite the right word, but when you bump into people, like, it's all very, you're friends with everyone all the time. It's always like, you see bands do it all the time. Oh, our really good friends are playing with us, and I don't know. I think I believed that sort of thing for quite a long time, and then it did occur to me, like, I have no idea who these people are. I just quite like their music, and that's it. That's not.
You're not really friends.
It's not really friends. It's just a lot of people I respect, I suppose. There's one thing, but friends is a very, you know people, and you can have a laugh and conversations rather than just these really awkward drunken moments at gigs for like a couple of hours where you just appreciate each other's art. Yeah. So, yeah.
But that's what's so funny is, like, he wasn't even a close friend. And even if he had been a close friend, like a real close friend who's in your life every day, and even a close friend, if you think for a second my primary intimacy is with you instead of my spouse, you're out of my life. Goodbye. That's ridiculous.
And not only
but he wasn't even a close friend.
Yeah, no, he's acting like he was. But if he was your friend, how comes that's the first message you've had from him in over 5 years, and he didn't ask if you're okay? There's not one bit in that message that asks if you were okay.
Nothing like that. It's nothing, because I think I overthink things quite a lot. But I was thinking, like, if I was in that position and I thought that, well, I thought my friend was, one, being abused by someone, 2, like, because of your partner's actions, it's affecting what you do. I'll try and figure out why and ask the questions rather than going straight to, she's obviously evil and you're wrong.
Yeah. Well, the other thing is the abuse aspect. So I think it's very serious that I've been repeatedly publicly accused of domestic violence and abuse towards you. And one of the things that bothers me about it is that if you genuinely thought that somebody was being abused, you wouldn't make a public spectacle of their abusive relationship.
Yes.
Especially when the victim, so let's say Doozer is the victim, doesn't talk about it. He never talks about being abused online. So if he is being abused in his personal relationship and you're putting it out there, who do you think's going to read it when they get home? The abuser. Especially when you're tagging Doozer in it. I don't know if you saw the one where he tagged Doozer in it and accused Doozer of having an affair, and said,
I didn't see that.
Why. And Doozer understandably had an affair, and that's why
I was really annoyed because I didn't do that at all. I didn't get a chance to do anything like that.
I've been to tell that joke for a week. I've had to listen to that joke about 10 times.
I didn't even get to do it. Hey, I saw that, and
if you're being abused, if you're worried about someone who is being abused, I would have thought the number one thing you don't do is tag them in a post online, accusing their partner of abusing them, the abuser, and saying that this person has had an affair on the abuser. Because what do you think is going to happen when the abuser sees that status?
Right. But you also don't, as you mentioned, come after the friend you're supposedly concerned about being abused. You don't attack them in public, which is what he did with that lie about an affair. And I'm reading that. By the way, that statement was just incredible. It was basically 3 or 4 paragraphs about what a good guy he is. He's like, let me tell you a story. It was a completely unrelated story. He's like, this morning, I'm going to give you the short version. This morning, I talked to a sad person because I'm so good and kind. And let me tell you about how I called this person and they were sad and I talked to them and I'm really great. Now, let me tell you about people who are not great, like Birdie. And then it goes into this thing. It's like, wow, what a narcissist. And at the end, he even summarizes it in case you missed the point that you were supposed to pick up on, which is at the end, he summarizes it. In short, there are good people like me and bad people like Birdie.
Yeah, brilliant. Because he said the internet, sex isn't binary, but the internet is. I think somebody said that the internet is binary and there's only good people like me and bad people like Birdie. And that's it. That's what it is.
The internet's many things. It's not binary. It's that's mental. That's really it's like there's everything. Everything's on the internet. Literally anything. Yeah.
No, there's
only two.
There's only goodies.
There's only two.
Goodies.
It's maybe it's because it's computers. That's binary, isn't it? So the thought process.
There's only two. There's good people like me, and there's bad people like Birdie.
I love that you wrote that to him as well. And then he tried that he was being trolled by trolls.
It was
he blocked me.
What did he say? It was like an organised attack.
Yes, that I'd organised an attack. Yeah, he said that because I showed his messages, what was it, a week or so after he sent them to you?
It was quite a while after because I think I originally got him in. It was the end of October, beginning of November.
But we had a lot of things going on.
But I don't think I replied to him for a few days.
And I don't think you showed me straight away.
I don't think I showed you straight away because there was just so much stuff going on. And yeah, it all happens at once, doesn't it? So
yeah, we had a lot going on in our personal lives to deal with, like family stuff. So I didn't see the message straight away, but you did show it to me.
Yeah.
And so I put it up a couple of days later because I'm not a knee-jerker. I sit on things and I think about it for a while. And that's what I do. But he's claiming that that's proof that I premeditated and organised an attack on him. And
here's the thing that shows he's an absolute liar. You didn't include his name. I and no one else would have ever known who this was or how to find. And
you did
that.
Him. So
it's because of the picture of the art. There was an artwork because you made some artwork to go with the art.
He did. So you didn't include his name. And then for anybody listening or watching who hasn't seen this, he wrote a message to Doozer after the fact and said, if you could ask Birdie to credit me for my words as quote, and then he put his name taken from a private message sent to Doozer McDooze without permission. And then he starts blogging and tweeting about it and everything, outing himself. So it's like, no, dude, you're a freaking liar. This is what Disassociated, Josh Sloak on a Disassociated podcast talks about as briar patching. It's where the person's like, oh no, don't throw me in the briar patch. And when you
briar patch.
Have you heard of that phrase?
No, not heard of it. I understand what it means, but I don't know what it means. Like if you
it comes from Brar Rabbit, the old African folk tale.
But right, I know what you mean. Yes, yeah.
Yes. But they want to be thrown in the briar patch so that when they're there, they can be like, oh no, you did it. You threw me in the briar patch. I'm such a victim. Like that's him. He's like, put my name on it, but you put my name on it. You know, and it's like, what are you talking about? You did this yourself. You just want to be a victim so bad.
Oh, there's a lot of that mentality in that sort of
art music scene. Definitely.
Yeah, there's I remember a good friend. He's not with us anymore, but a good friend of ours. He told me very early on when we were first hit the road, he was like, you can't keep being a victim with stuff, because I think I might have been like, oh no, basically I was really excited going on the road, but literally we had no safety net. I think we had about about 500 quid and then hope for the best. But he told me it was probably the best advice. He said, you can't keep posting, you can't post like that because people would just lose interest. They don't care that much.
But he was wrong, because he didn't see where the culture went. The culture went all into all of that.
Oh, I suppose so. Well, maybe I should do that then.
But no, but it was good for us to hear somebody say
it
early days, like, yes, you're on the road, you're doing a difficult thing. It's exciting as well. But it's good for us to have someone say to us, don't play the victim.
Yeah.
And that was a good thing to early on.
Really good advice.
Don't play the victim, and don't, even when you really are the victim of something, I've found, and you're not trying to be, but you are the victim. I found it better, hard to do, but better, to stay somewhat quiet about it. It's very hard to do.
It is hard to do.
Yeah, I've been very quiet about a lot of this. I mean, I don't know. I feel like Birdie makes a lot of noise for all the things that she needs to, but it's not kind of. I can't interact on the internet like that very well. I just can't.
I'm the noisy one when it comes to, if I'm being attacked, everybody will know about it.
Yeah.
Well, it's good to use some of the attacks as illustration, because they show on a broader scale what's happening, like the UK music and art scene, and this kind of bullying and coercion that's happening around you guys. I mean, that's just a microcosm for what's happening to people in our chat, people across the pond, people here in the US. Like, it's a microcosm of what's happening in society. By the way, quick correction. I'm so sorry. Josh Slocum's podcast is called Disaffected. Thank you, Pirate. I know that. I don't know why
Pirate Tomsky. Well done.
He's good. I was going to say that is why I shared it, because I did actually write on one of the tweets where I shared the screenshots. And I will share it again after this conversation. But I did write that the reason I'm sharing this isn't the first time this has happened. It won't be the last. I've got many screenshots of conversations like this, people messaging you, people going after our relationship, going after us. I've got many screenshots of it, but I shared it this time because, number one, I've had enough and I'm human, and every now and again you go, do you know what, I've had enough of your shit, and you just go out. But also I did think about it. I didn't just knee jerk. I did think, actually, people need to see how this manifests and how it operates. People are not self-censoring for no reason. They know something's going on. They just don't see what's going on. And what you don't see is scarier. Like when you're watching a horror film and there's a monster, you never see the monster. That's scarier than seeing the monster. And because they're not seeing the monster, they're absolutely terrified of speaking up. But if I show them what the monster is, it's never as big and it's never as scary as you think it is.
Yes. You're outing the monster. That's part of it. It's like, I like when you said you shared a similar message a long time ago. I mean, this was almost a year ago, 2 years. No, this was over a year ago. You said these abuse tactics will not work on us. And it was another private message.
Yeah,
that was
message. And then they went all mental about the fact that I shared the message. Well, do you know what? The easiest way to not get on my radar and to not be talked about by me is to not attack us.
Yeah. That was just after, basically I got pulled from a festival because of
somebody complained on a public post that Doozer has a girlfriend who has views that might be upsetting to other people, and that got you cancelled.
I love this one in part of that original one. Wait, let me just put this one up, because this quote makes me laugh. Here it says but when Birdie uses the word woman, she only means people who were born with biologically female genitalia. Yeah. Okay. I don't know. That just makes me laugh.
What makes me laugh is he put the vast majority of our festival family think other types of women exist too.
Okay, you can think that. It doesn't mean
I've never said you can't think what you want. You can think whatever you want. I just don't believe it. And you know what? I'm also going to mock it because it's the stupidest thing I've ever heard in my life. And I wouldn't mind if people weren't trying to force me to say I believe it.
You probably would have said it once and let it go. It's
Yeah.
only because people keep coming at you. Yeah.
It's because they're so. It's
back.
like they have to control you. They have to.
Yeah. Because
Yeah, and I think the reason it's escalated to attacking us and our relationship is because I won't go down, and I keep getting back up, and you keep getting back up, and I don't think they realised how scrappy I am, and I didn't realise either. I didn't realise I had it in me, but I got it in me, and I know I got it in me, and I don't like all of this. I don't like confrontation. I don't like a fight. I don't like any of it, but I'm bloody good at it, and I've realised that now, and that's why they're getting angry, because they didn't realise I would be as strong as I am. That's weird to say, I'm strong, but I have been.
Also because Doozer, I think you were saying, you know, something about being quiet about when you're going through something. And by the way, as a believer, there's a Bible verse, because that's hard for me, but there's a Bible verse I go to about that, and it says, it basically says something like, the Lord will fight for you, and all you have to do is remain silent. And I go to that whenever I'm tempted to say something about anything I know I shouldn't. That's just me, because it's hard. I want to fight. I want to fight back. But because you are more quiet about it, and Birdie is more scrappy, and in the public, like, uses with her art and stuff, uses this kind of abusive tactics as an illustration. You're quieter, and so I think people probably assume about you, like, oh, he doesn't agree. He's quiet because he doesn't agree with her, but he's afraid, and he's abused, and I think that's very insulting.
Yeah.
For you.
It is.
Yeah, because I think your resilience is very quiet. You have a quiet resilience about you, and I think it's very noble that you're able to withstand a storm and remain quiet and stoic about it. Like, especially public facing. I know privately we can be a bit different in our dynamics sometimes, but yeah, I think it's noble the way you conduct yourself.
Yeah, I just yeah, it's not how it's not
who you are.
Not how I work, really. So yeah.
Well, I'm so happy that you both came on today. I don't want to take up too much of your time. I just wanted people to hear this story because I think it's illustrative of what it's like to be the subject of cancellation, and in your case, like, repeated attempted cancellations. And I hope that you guys will get to travel to Texas, and I would love for you to meet my fella and do some shows with him.
We want to come. We're talking about coming.
Yeah,
not quite sure how, but then again, the last time we went, I don't think we knew how.
We always make things happen.
Yeah.
Whenever we get our mind on something, we always make it happen.
But yeah, that'd be great. Yeah, let's do that.
If you come to Texas, there'll be music involved and barbecue. If you meet tea, and also we could go shooting if you wanted to just try it.
Go. Yeah, I'm up for. Yeah, why not? That sounds great.
Sounds fun.
Not people, right? No, we're not shooting people.
No, never.
Just
Paper targets. Okay, so let's close it out with this then. I want everybody, first of all, thank you for hanging out with us in the chat, and I want everybody to go and check out Doozer's music, check out the YouTube page, check out Birdie's site if you haven't already. And here we've got these links here from Pirate. Thank you, Pirate.
Hey. Look at that. That's good.
So professional.
It's really good.
Also, Pirate gave a little chat here. He says, so he wants to become part of the clergy of woke. Oh, that's an old one. I'm sorry. I don't know who you were talking about. Maybe the guy who was attacking you.
Oh.
So thank you guys for being here. And I want to ask you, let's leave on an instructive note if we can. Like, what kind of advice would you give for people, anybody who might be watching or listening, who finds themselves the subject of social pressure or some kind of coercive cancellation attempt or campaign?
Shall I go first or you?
Yeah, you can go first. Yeah, if you want.
I think don't be afraid of speaking your mind and facing the consequences of it. Because one thing that I heard Jordan Peterson say recently that really resonated with me is that there's consequences regardless of if you do something or you don't, and you have to choose which consequences you personally can live with or not live with.
Yeah, I got COVID for Christmas, and so I was in bed all week, and I ended up watching all the Harry Potter films. And there's a line in there, I don't know, but there's a line in there from the Harry Potter. You basically, there's a point where you have to take the path of what is right or what is easy, and I thought that was.
Do you know what? I put that on my
really
first on my first J.K. Rowling portrait.
And I was like, oh blimey! But yeah, it's a tough thing to get thrown into. When you've got like suddenly what you thought was your support network suddenly turned against you. But I don't know. I think I think it's worth it. There's something worth it about being able to say what you think and at least talk about it properly. Than just,
if you can't say what you think, you'll go mad, and that's not worth it.
No, we've both done that a couple of times. So yeah.
I'm gonna end it with my little. You just made me think of something with that Harry Potter quote.
Yeah.
Doozer, and here, let me put this. I'm gonna put it in my own chat. How can I do that? Yeah. Okay. This is another great bit of wisdom. Scripture. It says, "Enter through the narrow gate or the narrow path, for wide is the gate and broad is the road that leads to destruction. And many enter through it. But small is the gate and narrow is the road, the path that leads to life. And only a few find it."
I like that.
Oh, I know.
It's really good.
Yeah. You don't see, I mean, the path of what is right is more narrow because there's fewer people who walk it.
Yeah, people would rather go with what's
convenient and
easy.
Path of least resistance.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I wish you both the best, and I'm glad you're over COVID, or maybe getting out of COVID.
Yeah, no, I'm all
okay.
Yeah, you had it really bad. I had it, and I didn't even know I had it. I was just like, I've got a little bit of a sore throat, because I get a sore throat with my asthma quite a lot, and I can never tell the difference. It's always either I get a sore throat and I just think it's a sore throat, don't I?
Yeah.
But then it turns out to be
But
something.
you had it bad.
Yeah, I can never tell the difference. So I felt fine. I felt normal.
Well, I'm glad you're back, Doozer. And thank you guys. Everybody, go and check out their websites. We have them, their YouTube's linked below. And hope you guys have a good weekend.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks so much for having us.
Thank you. Take care.
See you later.
Well, I'm going to go then. And I don't need any of this. I don't need